We talked about how for a few years Lil D balled out. Had Maseratis, had all the chains, the girls, his 20th birthday party, 2,000 people showed up, MC Hammer was there and performed. He was living it.
Yeah, right.
And then he went to prison for 28 years.
In 10 months.
27 years, 10 months.
Oh, okay.
In prison, 8 years more than he'd been out of prison. I asked him if it was worth it. And he said he'd be a damn fool to tell anyone that balling out for a couple of years is worth it.
Man, if you trying to be like me, you's a damn fool. And then they asked me, why would I be a damn fool? I said, man, I just did 28 years in prison. You want to be like me? And then I tell them that they need to think about the consequences.
You can go do a flashback of the conversation that me and you had about about the brother BMF, Big Meech.
Big Meech?
Yeah. You asked me pretty much that same question.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, no. Balling out for 10 years ain't worth going to give up damn near 3 decades of your life inside of a box.
Yeah.
No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I mean, he'd have loved to be on the streets eating top ramen and chili and, going to look at the beach and watch the sunset,
Talk to a girl.
Yeah. Hold her hand and walk up the street,
Yeah.
I mean, my wife always tell me, you on your way home now? It's a bunch of traffic. I'd be like, traffic. You know how many times I stared out the window and said I would just love to be sitting in traffic right now. And you tell, I got music, I got a blunt, I got a cell phone. What is traffic? I don't know what traffic is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I interviewed Freeway Ricky, and his plug was actually an informant that ended up testifying against him.
Right.
And gave him life in prison. I said if Blandone, the guy that ended up getting him locked up ultimately, if he walked into the room right now, what would you do? He said nothing. What would happen if he walked in the room right now?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing.
I have absolutely nothing against him.
Really?
Nah. Wasn't his fault. See, the way I look at it is, first of all, I made the mistake of getting in the drug business.
That's a heavy acceptance of responsibility right there.
Well, you have to accept responsibility.
Yeah.
As an adult.
You should.
Mm-hmm.
You should. A lot of people still don't. That's why, they in the situation they in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He accepted that as part of the game. Now, you yourself were not a drug dealer.
No.
You were a robber.
Mm-hmm.
But you were getting snitched on also. We talked about a snitching situation that...
Well, the robberies that I was doing, the people really couldn't snitch on me.
Okay.
Because they was on the other side of the law, most of the robberies.
Let me rephrase that then. As a criminal, overall, you were snitched on. That whatever rules you had in your own head, the rules of that game included getting snitched on.
They did.
Do you know anyone that had been a criminal for a long time and nobody ever snitched on him?
Hell yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
That's a real thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, to my knowledge, no one has snitched on them. I don't know. They might be under investigation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They might have a deal with the law. You know what I'm saying? Where they let them operate with impunity. I have no clue. But I know some guys that have been in the drug game for a long time and never went to prison, never been arrested to my knowledge. So, but I mean, it's like maybe 2 guys and they older and they, they don't really sell heavy drugs. It's like, it's like more of a hustle. And I think they probably just get allowed to, maintain their little small $2, $3 hustle, with what they sell. And they just get ignored because it's not really a dent on society and it's not really debilitating anybody.
Right, because
Now you talking about a crack dealer or somebody like that, or because I know people have been in the weed game too that just sold weed
Right.
all their life, and
Well, I mean, it's an interesting point because, when I talked to Lil D, he said that what he changed about the drug game in Oakland is that unlike under Felix's, watch, there was a lot of violence. Mm-hmm. He came in and said, look, we're going to stop fighting with each other. The violence is what's causing everyone to get arrested.
he was smart. You got to feed the troops. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
But the violence, he even said, at first when he was doing just weed, he said not a lot of violence in weed, so the cops didn't really care about all that shit.
Exactly. Yeah, when you get into them heavier drugs, you bringing a different element into that community.
Mm-hmm.
And people on heavy drugs tend to do outlandish things to make sure they can sustain their habit. Well,
Yeah.
so I get it. But yeah, I know a couple of people that've been hustling for a long time, and it's like, shit, they got a license to do that shit.